All right, Tyler Perry fans. Now, to be honest, I mean, after I did my Acrimony movie review, I thought that was it. But Tyler Perry seems to love when people are still talking about this movie because the debate still goes, and I can definitely see why. It's not necessarily a man versus a woman debate, but also, women versus women, men versus men. It all depends on your stance on who do you side with, Robert or Melinda. Do you think Robert owed Melinda anything after their divorce? I believe in the film, and I did make some light notes here because it has been a few months since the movie came out. I believe Robert wanted to reconcile, but Melinda refused. So he actually went ahead and bought, I believe gave her like $10 million as well as the house. And if memory serves, this house was passed on to her from her mother or father. I forgot which one. But basically, Melinda put most of, if not all of her inheritance into Robert's dream, which I believe was some sort of battery. And, he kept working on this. Like, she was working two jobs trying to support him on his dream. And there got to a point where the dream meeting at a company that he wanted to pitch his idea with actually offered him a certain amount of money, but he decided to decline the deal. Ironically enough, the offer itself would have been enough to save the house from foreclosure, but he declined on it, holding out. And that's when Melinda eventually got a divorce. A short time later, they reconsidered and offered him a multi-million-dollar deal. And this was after they got divorced. And of course, that's when Robert decided to give Melinda the $10 million and the house, buy the house back for her, pretty much as a show of like, you know what? I apologize due to the fact that, you put all this time, you invested all this time and money into my project, and at the very least, I want to give you something back. Now, here's my stance on this. I feel like Robert did the right thing. Legally speaking, he didn't owe her a dime. Like, when you get divorced, unless there's like a prenup or something where alimony or whatever, that's ironic. The title of the movie should have been Alimony, not Acrimony. But I feel like, legally, from a legal standpoint, Robert didn't owe her anything. But I think that it showed a true sign of his character that he felt like, this woman devoted so much money and stuff into me, and this was her mother's or her family's house. At the very least, I should at least give her the house back, buy it back for her, and give her $10 million because of the fact that, that pretty much, that's like I guess the word is a reparation, pretty much repaying back for everything she did for him, all the money invested into his dream, working the jobs while he just stayed in his room or whatever, or workshop, studying books and working on this. And, while she's the one, bringing home the bacon, and he's the one frying it up in the pan and burning it. Literally, it's just throwing it in the trash. So I feel like the pinnacle of Robert being wrong. Like, I believe those two were dating in college and he was cheating on Melinda. But I feel like what really put Robert in the wrong was when the marriage, Melinda and him were in such a financial bind that they were about to lose the house. Robert gets the offer that he's been waiting for. Well, the opportunity to pitch his idea at a company, and is offered X amount of dollars. And ironically enough, that deal would have been enough to save Melinda from losing the house, and he didn't accept it. Hence why they divorced. And then, of course, that was definitely a low note for his character. But then he rose up again when he gave her the money in the house, in my opinion. My thing is this much. My thing is this. Melinda really was the villain. Villain is the wrong. Well, it's not really the wrong word. She actually tried to kill him and the wife at the end. But you know what I mean? In terms of who was right and who was wrong, I feel like when you're in love, that just what is it, like you can't see the forest from the trees and it blinds you. Melinda, I believe her sisters were always in her ear about this and that, but I just feel like she was a grown woman that made her own choices. Like, I completely understand like Robert focusing on his dream, but the problem with that is you need to have a plan. Your long-term goal is to get a shot at this company with your idea and whatnot, but you need to be somehow funding your marriage. Like if you're married to someone, you can't have one person pulling all the way. I mean, hey, I'm old fashioned. I'm only 27, single. What do I know? But at the same time, I know a little bit to know that you really should. It should be about give and take and compromise. So you really can't have one person being the one funding everything while this other person is like, sitting behind closed doors working on a project that may never work. I mean, what really got me about Acrimony is that I drew so many comparisons to the haves and the have-nots, like the opportunistic people versus the people who are blindly devoted to another, and they come from a wealthy background, and one person feels betrayed and this and that leads to disaster. So really, when you think about it, I feel like Robert legally didn't know Melinda anything, but I feel like it was a great move for his character to give Melinda back the house and $10 million because she devoted so much time to his dream. Sorry, I'm just getting situated in this chair. I've been recording for the past hour. I got 6 videos in the books, but I feel like Robert did something that a lot of people or men probably wouldn't have done. I mean, like, hey, you divorced me, that's it. Fine, walk away, I'm done with you. But the fact that Melinda devoted so much time, love, care, and money to his dream when nobody else would, that's one thing. I think that's what some people say, like, they saw men and women, like, they saw the potential in their partner when nobody else did, and that's what really drew them together. And sometimes, like, what's that saying, behind every great man is an even greater woman, or something like that. But yeah, I mean, Melinda, at some point, she should have put her foot down. It's like, look, you're going to go out here, get a job. I don't care if it's working at a McDonald's or something, but you're going to help me bring some money home, because of the fact that the battery you're working on is draining our finances. That's a good analogy. But at the same time, it's like, again, I can understand him saying, I need to spend time focusing and all this stuff. Well, that's why you set up a time, like a calendar or planner or whatever, to say, I'm going to set X amount of hours per day or per week working on this project, but I need to get like a 9 to 5 or something to help generate some money. Like, you need a plan A and B. Like, your plan A is like, okay, well, your long-term goal could be like, okay, I got this great idea that will help me make the big time. Like, it will help me make the big time. But guess what? I need to generate money in order to fund this dream, but also make a living. So I'm going to have to get this desk job or this call center job and keep working at it. I mean, side note, that's how I got on YouTube. YouTube was not in the books. I had no idea I'd be doing this. But yeah, I was working in the call center. I was blogging about the haves and the have-nots for 3 years, not making a dime. A friend suggested I do to YouTube, and I started. A year and a half after that, nothing happened. But then eventually last June, that's when the channel started blowing up, and now I'm doing it full time. But there you go again. Like, even if YouTube was my main goal, I would have had to be at a call center or another job, working my butt off, trying to pay the bills. And once this dream started flying, that's when I would just, put a helmet on, ride the dream, and fly off into the sunset. I don't know. I'm bet. Look, it's almost 3 a.m., guys. My analogies aren't on point like they usually are. But yeah, I feel like Melinda really should have put her foot down before. I mean, look, it's just like here's just another example. Like, let's say you eat a bunch of junk food all the time. Like, you're not obese, you're in moderately good health or whatnot. You're wearing like a size 34. Then maybe a month or so later, those jeans kind of get a bit snug. Then you go up to a 38 down the line, and weeks go by. So, I mean, at some point you should stop and like, okay, I need to cut back on the Big Macs and whatnot and start drinking more water and exercising. So who are you to blame at the end of the day? Like, several months later, are you going to sue McDonald's or whatnot because they ruined your life, but you're the one that kept putting money into that franchise, buying the food and consuming it? That's how I kind of feel about the Melinda and Robert relationship. It's like Melinda saw where this was going. Like, I'm pretty sure, she wasn't that blinded by her love that she didn't notice that her funds and her bank account were decreasing over and over and over. So it got to the point where she was about to lose the house, like the Bobby Brown story, and Bobby and Whitney got married and they stayed locked up weeks on end getting high. And then the house he had in Atlanta was about to be foreclosed on. It's like, sometimes you're blind to this stuff, but it's kind of inexcusable. Like, Melinda really should have said, like, look, when our bank account hits this specific amount of money, I'm not saying you need to quit your job. I mean, quit your goal or your dream, but you're going to get out there, get a job, and start helping me fund this stuff. So I really feel like that's something that Melinda should have done a long time ago. But I can definitely see why she would feel entitled to the success. But at the same time, she was the one that, it's like, she was the one that divorced him when it got bad. And I'm not going to lie, it did get bad. The fact that your house was about to be foreclosed on, so all the money and whatnot that you helped towards your man's dream finally paid off because he got a meeting at that company. And it wasn't a meeting where he got declined. It was a meeting where he got the opportunity to sell his idea, but the money wasn't good enough. It was almost like Deal or No Deal. It's like, okay, the banker called in. He wants to offer you $75,000. Robert, I'm going to ask you, deal or no deal? And it means sometimes they say no deal. And then the next time they open a case, they open up the $1 million or $750,000 and they crap out. Or sometimes the holdout actually pays off and they end up walking away with, 6 or 7 figure amounts there. But I can definitely see why Melinda would feel betrayed, because it's like, look, the house my folks left me is about to go because I drained all my funds for your dream. And I'm about to lose the house. So instead of you taking this deal, which I helped fund, this is why it happened, and you won't even take the deal to get the money to help save the house that my parents left me because I gave you money to fuel your dream. I can definitely see why she would feel betrayed. So after the divorce, that was it. And I can definitely see why there would be some jealousy with him being a multimillionaire. But at the same time, Robert showed a great deal of character by giving her quote unquote reparations to pay her back for everything. So, after that point of him paying her back, that's when she turned into a Veronica level crazy bitch. So yeah, I don't even want to get into that, but I feel like the real question is, did Robert owe anything to Melinda? Personally, from a legal standpoint, no, because when you divorce, that's it. But I feel like it was definitely cool points in my mind for his character to give her that money and the house back. I mean, the fact, aside from being a married couple to, girlfriend and boyfriend, fiance and whatnot, I think it started off as friends. So I feel like that was definitely a good thing for him to do. Not a necessity, but I felt like it definitely was the right thing to do. So in conclusion, Acrimony, yeah, what a movie. I mean, the fact that people are still talking about it speaks volumes. Hopefully Tyler Perry sees this video and shares it like he's done with a few others. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Did Robert owe Melinda anything? Do you still watch Acrimony? I believe that I'll probably buy it if it's on sale during Black Friday. No, actually, I think my mom has a copy of it. Yeah. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, folks. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll talk to you soon.